In northern Texas, USA, within Denton County, there is a small town named Cooper Canyon, connected to Denton City by a small bridge. It is 32 meters long, but when you first see the bridge, you'll think it's just an ordinary wooden bridge, though it has simply aged over time. But the truth is that this simple bridge is surrounded by a multitude of stories and legends. Terrifying screams, footsteps sounds without anyone present, people getting lost and beaten while passing by from hidden and invisible demons. These various factors and unexplained occurrences contributed to this particular bridge being officially listed among the top 5 most haunted places in all of America. Over time, it has evolved into one of the most favorite spots for dedicated fans of scary adventures, the majority of whom have gathered here. The reason behind the scary occurrences in this place is the Goatman. Welcome and come. Today I'll tell you about the Devil's Goatman Bridge. But before we start, don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell so you receive a notification of a new story every week. I want you to get 2,000 likes on this video before the next. I'll reward you handsomely. The story begins in the year 1846 AD. At that time, Denton County, USA, was just newly established. The officials were looking for a headquarters to house the governmental institutions of the precinct and agreed at that time that the headquarters would be in a small city named Benconville. But within 2 years, they had to move the headquarters to a new location due to water shortage and the Legislative Council in Texas at that time. They determined that the new headquarters would be in a city located on a series of high hills just 1 kilometer away from the old headquarters. And they named the new place Alton City because it wasn't far from the previous city and the water problem there also wasn't resolved. And no one was willing to move and live there except for only one person. So when the government found the situation like that, they had to move the headquarters. For the third time, in the year 1850 AD, the city was established and this time strategically located south of Denton, where it was officially named Alton by the settlers. There, the government built a post office, opened 2 hotels, a school and a church. And gradually the residents began to be attracted to the place. For 6 years, the situation remained completely stable. But afterwards, the residents began complaining that they started getting illnesses due to polluted water in the city. At that time, they submitted a petition to move the headquarters slightly north, and after that, the residents started relocating one after another until Alton City was completely deserted. After these events, around 30 years later in 1884, there was a company named Kinja Ern that decided to build a bridge made of wood and steel to connect between Denton City and another city named Cooper Canyon, and they named this palace as Alton Bridge, named after the old government headquarters, because this bridge was the only bridge that connected between Cooper Canyon City. It is a famous place for livestock located in a forest in Denton. Carts and horses were always going back and forth on it, transporting goods and traders. Until the bridge became one of the most vital places in the entire region. But little by little people began to stop using it and went to another bridge that was built. Newer than it was wider and allowed them to move in both directions instead of the small wooden bridge that was hindering their movement because it was one way. And gradually, Alton Bridge and the surrounding area all became a different place, completely abandoned by humans. In the recent period when the bridge was being used as a pedestrian crossing, many people were complaining that strange things were happening on the bridge, strange noises coming out from the middle of the forest, unusual movements. In the water of the river below the bridge, gigantic shadows appearing among the trees and disappearing suddenly. And what's more surprising is that these sightings were not from 1 or 2 people. Thousands of people experienced this, and the strangest thing was the testimonies stating that they saw a huge creature standing at the end of the bridge, waiting for them. His body is human-like but entirely covered in thick black hair. He has a goat's head and giant horns, roaring with a terrifying sound. As soon as he sees someone walking on the bridge, he immediately attacks them. But as soon as you approach him, he disappears suddenly. Due to many terrifying sightings, many people have experienced this. The bridge gradually became famous among people under the name Goatman's Bridge. The legend of the Goatman, or the entity known in folklore as Faun, is a widely spread Western legend that tells of a giant creature 2.5 meters tall. His entire body is a fusion of human and goat, entirely covered in abundant hair and thick wool. Sometimes he walks on 2 legs, and other times on all 4s, leaving behind a foul smell wherever he moves. In multiple legends, Faun is recognized as a fierce, horny, carnivorous creature. He always lives in areas isolated from people and blocked roads. Be careful with these blocked roads because that's what made many people think that the Faun is. While there is a strange thing at Alton Bridge, the truth is that local folklore shares a completely different and fascinating story about Alton Bridge. This is a story that has absolutely nothing to do with the fawn creature. According to the legend, during that particular period in history, there was an African-American shepherd who, Oscar Ashburn was named, and Oscar, along with his family, resided in a small house situated directly to the north of the bridge. Within a short period of time, Oscar was able to achieve great success in his field to the extent that he became the most famous sheep trader in the entire region. This fame made him decide one day they planned to hang a large, weathered sign securely on the bridge that clearly read, "This road leads to the Goatman." He means himself since he is a goat trader, and at the same time, he refers to another metaphorical meaning, which is GOAT, an acronym for greatest of all time, or many athletes strive to be recognized as the best of all time, using it as a powerful form of pride. America has an organization called the KKK, which is an extremist white supremacist group known for its severe racism and discrimination towards anyone different, originating from any country other than America. The group's members are a state, and they received news of the sign related to Oscar, which is all prideful. And because Oscar was of African descent, they made the decision to kill him during one of the several nights in August of the year 1983. They attacked his house, kidnapped him from among his wife and children, took him up to the Kiltan Bridge, next to the sign he was hanging. They tied one end of a rope to the bridge's beams and the other around Oscar's neck. Then they weighed him down and threw him off the bridge to drown him. But moments later, they looked over the bridge and found the rope empty, and Oscar's body was nowhere to be seen. Despite this, they didn't hear anything falling into the water. The river below appeared completely normal, with no changes in the water flow. There was no evidence that anything had happened, and in a state of confusion and panic, they all ran under the bridge and thoroughly searched the area, hoping to find Oscar's body. But Oscar had melted and dissolved, and at that moment, the group's leader ordered the followers to go to his house and set it on fire, with his wife and children as a form of threat, so that if Oscar was hiding here or there, he would appear and try to reveal the truth. But time passed, and the house and its contents turned to ashes, and Oscar did not appear. The legend says that after this incident, Oscar's spirit began to haunt the place continuously, taking the form of a human with a goat's head wanting to take revenge on everything. All those responsible for his death were him, his wives, his children, and many residents of the area have begun reporting that they see these things at the bridge. But despite that, they all agree that he doesn't harm anyone, has no connection to the tragic incident that happened to him, and they say he has been lingering over the years after the accident, haunting the gang members who kidnapped him from his home until one killed them, and then he returned. And after that, he only appears among the trees, stalking anyone passing over the bridge. And he doesn't appear in his full form unless you come with your car to the middle of the bridge, illuminate the gaps, and strike calcs 3 or 4 times. Alternatively, you might deliberately knock 3 times on the bridge's images, exactly as the gang did before they proceeded to throw him. Many people living in the area believe in what we've said, but there is a group that says that yes, Oscar's spirit is present in the place and appears from time to time. But Oscar is the good spirit present on the bridge, whereas there is another evil spirit that frequents the place. The spirit that terrorizes, hits, scratches, and curses is the spirit of leader Steve, and Steve is the head of the KKK group that attacked Oscar on the fateful night. He was known among people as a hot-tempered and violent man who performed many satanic practices related to sorcery. The story says that Steve married 3 women. All of them lived with him a tragic life that was full of oppression and severe hardship together. Waz chose a woman for the 4th time, but she rejected him, and out of his pride, he decided to marry her against his will. Because of that, on the wedding day, she drank poison and killed herself. When he heard the news, he went mad and started attacking her. He bit her to the extent that Al-Wafa's report stated that the cause of her death was the bite Steve gave her, not the poison. After the incident, Steve went to the bridge, and there the spirit of Oscar appeared to him and finished him off. Since then, his spirit has been trapped on the bridge, unable to free itself, and it is she who attacks people passing by the bridge. The legend says that if someone mentions her name while being nearby, her spirit will appear immediately and try to harm them. Although the legend of Oscar and Steve is the most famous story about Elton Bridge, some people link the strange events occurring on the bridge to another legend. A completely different one that dates back to the 1860s, meaning before the bridge was even built, and this time the story is about a man named Jack, a sheep herder of African descent who was very successful in trading. This made him always get into conflicts with the cattle herders. The situation eventually culminated when, on a fateful day, they attacked him, taking him to a secluded area in the forest near Elton Bridge, and proceeded to hang him from a tree. and they hanged him there in a gruesome manner to the point that his head was severed from his body. But what happened was that Jack was among those who practiced voodoo magic, and because of that, he didn't die even after his head was separated from his body. And the legend says that his body kept moving in the forest without a head and tried to attack the one who killed him, but they dealt with him at sunset, and after this incident, they took a goat, slaughtered it, removed its head, and placed it where his missing head was. And since then, he is the one who appears in that place with a human body and a goat's head, hoping to find those who did that to him and take revenge on them. There are many stories surrounding Alton Bridge, all related to people who died, and their spirits remained attached to the place for many years. And among them is the spirit of a woman who appears at midday in a long dress, calling there for her daughter, who is said to have fallen into the river from the bridge, from above the bridge there, and when someone jumped after her to catch up, they also drowned. And since then, she started appearing in the place with the same appearance she had before she died. And she keeps calling and calling, but when no one responds to her, she screams and then becomes terrifying. But the truth is that if we went back to the records, we wouldn't find any incidents that happened in this place. Neither she and her daughter drowned, nor would we find anyone living there named Askar, nor Jack Kindle, nor is there any evidence of the existence of the person named Steve who is present. They are all legends and stories in the popular heritage, retold by generations one after another, until many people believed them. And because of the reputation the bridge has gained and the many tales told about it, it has become a fertile ground for anyone interested in magic and satanic rituals. They worship the devil and always go there to hold gatherings, offer sacrifices, and perform many satanic practices. They reached the point that pet stores located in the Danton and Cooper Canyon areas decided to stop selling cats altogether because certain individuals were purchasing them with the intent to take them elsewhere and torment them and sacrifice them at the bridge. According to everyone who visited the bridge, it is indeed filled with satanic symbols. And remains of a cat's bones and squirrels clearly show that sacrifices were made in satanic rituals. Frequent visits to the place for devil worship increase the likelihood that the place is indeed haunted. But with jinn and demons due to the satanic rituals practiced there, it's not about our spirits being tarnished as legends say. Especially since many people have confirmed that strange things happen to them on this bridge, not just a few legendary stories. And for example, in the early 2000s, two young boys went to play soccer on the bridge during the afternoon hour and didn't know that this place is forbidden to play in, a deserted bridge away from people, water, trees, and foliage. There was nothing terrifying, and being so absorbed in play, time passed until the sun set. When they sensed that dusk was approaching and the place was becoming eerie, they decided to leave. But before they could leave the area, they heard the persistent sound of hooves clicking loudly against the wooden bridge floor, as if a wild animal was steadily approaching and getting closer to them. And despite nothing being visible in front of them, at that time Ali became frightened and they started running to escape the place quickly. As the boys, leading the group and sprinting ahead, glanced backward, they witnessed their friend being abruptly lifted and disappearing from above the bridge's protective railing, swallowed by the engulfing flames. And although the scene was terrifying and anyone in their place would have been petrified, the boy ran as fast as he could, went beneath the bridge, and entered the river to save his friend. But the strange thing was, when they asked him why he jumped from the bridge like that, he was surprised to say, "I didn't jump or anything, something lifted me off the ground and threw me from above." The incident involving these two boys wasn't the only event that recently occurred on Alton Bridge. Many people have confirmed that when they go there, they hear blood-curdling screams and see glowing eyes hidden among the dark shadows. And always while they are present there, they distinctly feel like someone is walking behind them, to the point that the heat of his presence lingers for ages, but as soon as they turn around, they find no one. This particular situation led a group of dedicated and enthusiastic adventurers, along with paranormal investigators, to decide in 2018 to bring their equipment and venture to Alton Bridge during the dark of night. At 12 at night, so they could see for themselves whether the bridge is truly haunted or not, and they filmed everything that happened there from the moment they entered until they left. And because this event was recorded in both sound and video, its views exceeded 20 million. After that, the bridge became much more famous than before, and that encouraged many adventurers to go and explore the place themselves. Thank you for watching. The mystery surrounding Alton Bridge is not only a topic for content creators around the world, but it also inspired many writers and authors to talk about the same bridge. One of the most famous among them was writer Becky Farkas, author of the book Secrets of the Man with the Cane Bridge, which took her a full 25 years to develop through stories and judgments. Over the years, she would go herself to explore the forest. And she herself was exposed to dark phenomena more than once. Sometimes she or the assistants with her would get hit or scratched on their backs, without seeing or determining what caused this to happen to them. Additionally, she said that every few steps she took in the forest, she would find dead animal bones, most of them compressed, and other bones tied together in the shape of a five-pointed star. In clear and explicit evidence of practices of magic and sorcery that were conducted in this place with animal bodies. Moreover, she found a complete altar made there near 3 trees in the middle of the forest, which is said that the desert dwellers made it to communicate with it with jinn and demons. Additionally, she is determined that she saw more than once apparitions of people dressed in black and covered, and holding writings in their hands, and their appearance is the same as the sorcerers of the 19th century. But they would suddenly vanish into nothingness as they suddenly appeared out of nothingness. And despite the long years she spent writing her research, to this very day, neither she nor others have managed to uncover the hidden secrets surrounding the authentic Raj Al Almaz bridge. Could it truly be haunted by supernatural entities such as jinn and demons? Or are they all apparitions resulting from people's influence by popular legends, especially when we know that the Templar Knights worshipped a demon named Baphomet? His body is that of a human and his head is that of a goat. And so we've reached the end of the story, waiting for your opinions. If you have a story you want us to tell, write it in the comments. The idea that receives significant interaction, I will do it, God willing. Show me your enthusiasm, subscribe, like, comment, all this great work, and share the video with anyone you think would like it. See you next time, with a far more exciting and intricate story than Salam's Play.